All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about one of the biggest, most important questions for any musician today. When you use AI to help create a song, who actually owns it? The answer, well, it's not nearly as simple as you'd hope, and it could honestly change everything about how you make your music. So, picture this. You've got a raw demo, just you, your voice, a guitar, and you feed it into an AI. And boom, 60 seconds later, out comes this polished, professional-sounding track. It's amazing. But the second you go to upload that to Spotify or YouTube, this giant question mark just pops up. Who are you supposed to credit? And even more critical, who legally owns this thing?
You know, for a singer-songwriter right now, this isn't just some techie question. It's a massive crossroads for your career. You're literally standing between the good old traditional studio way of doing things and this incredibly powerful, brand new world of AI. So to figure out which path to take, we've got to make sure we're all speaking the same language first.
A lot of the confusion around AI really just boils down to not being totally solid on the classic production terms that AI is trying to replace. So let's do a quick and dirty breakdown of the key roles in making a song, the old-fashioned way.
First up, the backing track. Okay, so think of this as your band in a box. It's the whole pre-recorded instrumental version of your song. The drums, the bass, the keyboards, all of it. When you're a solo performer, this is the magic that makes you sound like a full, tight band. It's your whole musical foundation.
So then, what about a session musician? Well, this is a real-deal human expert that you hire for a specific job. You need a killer sax solo that just bleeds soul? Or a drum groove that's so perfectly in the pocket a machine just can't touch it? You call a session player. They're the specialists who bring that human magic to take your track from a cool demo to an absolute banger.
And finally, we've got the arranger. The best way to think of this person is as the song's architect, right? You wrote the melody and the lyrics, but the arranger decides how the whole thing gets built. They figure out exactly when the drums should kick in, what the bass line is going to do, and when that beautiful cello part should swell up for maximum emotional impact. They draw up the sonic blueprints.
Okay, so we've got those terms in our back pocket. Now let's jump into the new world and see where it all gets messy. Because the fundamental problem with AI-generated music, it isn't about quality anymore. It's all about ownership.
And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the matter. I don't care what the AI services homepage tells you in big, bold letters. The legal reality is that your ownership of a track that was purely generated by an AI is, well, it's on shaky ground to say the least. Let's dig into why.
This slide right here is probably the most critical thing to understand, the huge difference between commercial rights and actual copyright. See, an AI company like Suno can give you a license for commercial rights. That just means they're giving you their permission to upload the song and make money from it. They're saying, we won't sue you. But that is not the same as copyright, which is legal ownership recognized by the law. The U.S. Copyright Office has been super clear about this. If a work doesn't have a human author, it can't be copyrighted. And that leaves this massive, massive vulnerability. You can use the song, sure, but you have zero legal power to stop someone else from taking those same AI-generated parts and using them in their song.
So, how in the world do you credit this stuff? Well, the short answer is you don't. You can't just list saxophone by Suno AI in your liner notes. Credits are for humans. What you do instead is use those new checkboxes that are popping up on platforms like YouTube to declare that the track is AI-assisted. Trying to pass off an AI as a human musician isn't just bad form, it's straight-up misrepresentation. Man, this all sounds pretty restrictive, doesn't it? But it doesn't have to be. There is a way forward that puts you, the artist, right back in the driver's seat. It just involves a pretty big shift in how you think about these tools. You know, the entire game changes the second you go from being a passive prompter, just typing words into a box, to being an active editor. The moment you take what the AI spits out, drag it into a digital audio workstation, a DAW, your recording software like GarageBand or Pro Tools, and you start making your own creative choices, your role completely changes. You're not just a user anymore. You are a producer. And this lays out the new workflow perfectly. Step 1 is ideation. Use the AI like a digital sketchbook. Get some ideas flowing. Get over that scary blank page. Step 2 is transformation. This is where you take over. You pull those AI-generated bits into your DAW, you chop them up, rearrange them, and this is key, re-record parts yourself. And finally, refinement. You do your own final mix and add your own unique human performance. So here's the million-dollar question for every artist grappling with this. If you follow this new workflow, does your final song stop being a legally weak AI derivative and become something more? And the answer is a huge resounding yes. When your human authorship, your editing choices, your new performances, your arrangement ideas transforms the AI's initial output so much that it's basically unrecognizable from where it started, you have crossed a critical legal line. It's not a derivative anymore. It is a new, original work that you can actually copyright.
Okay, so to wrap all this up, let's lay out a super clear map, a guide that shows you the different paths you can take and what each one really means for your music, and most importantly, for your rights.
This chart right here, this is your ultimate cheat sheet for this whole new world. Look at that top row. If you use a pure generator like Suno, your role is basically a prompt engineer, and your ownership is limited and legally kind of gray. Now move down one. If you use a tool like Band in a Box, which uses pre-recorded human stuff, you become more of an arranger, and you get full commercial rights. But look at that bottom row. When you're in your own DAW, playing the parts yourself, you're everything. The writer, performer, producer. And your ownership is absolute. No questions asked.
Let me put it even more simply. Something like Suno is a generator. It just spits stuff out. Something like Band in a Box is a tool. It's powerful, but you're directing it. But your own recordings, your own human performance, that is and always will be the absolute gold standard for total undeniable ownership.
So, how do you protect yourself in all this? It really comes down to what I call your proof of labor. Think of this as your ownership checklist. Number 1, always keep your DAW project files. That's your digital paper trail. Number 2, make it a habit to replace AI parts with your own live playing. And maybe most importantly, learn to see AI as a source of inspiration, a starting point, but never ever as the final product. Because at the end of the day, your human effort, your ideas, your intellect, that's the magic key that unlocks a real copyright.
So the big takeaway here is this: the modern musician isn't just a passive user of some app. They are an architect using incredible new tools to design and build something truly original. The question isn't if you'll use these tools anymore, it's how. So what are you going to build?